Hey students, I welcome you all on the amazing platform of learning which is Edvironment. So I already uploaded one video of my channel like what I am going to provide on this channel. Apart from that, the important thing which we have to discuss is we are going to start our first chapter of social studies of 10th class. So we will directly go to the topic without wasting any time. So first of all, I'll congratulate you all to enrolling in the 10th class or to moving to 10th class. So when it comes to your 10th class, you might have some basic concepts of your ninth, so that will help you to understand the upcoming topics or upcoming subjects which we are like going to learn. So first of all, we will start with the class directly. So see here, as you move to 10th class, before starting the class of social studies, I want to discuss few important things about social studies. So first of all, when it comes to social studies up to the school level, like the social studies is actually divided into three different groups, okay, or three different blocks up to the school. So we'll see what they are all. So first of all, the thing is, social studies is actually divided into three different blocks or three different groups. So the first one is, the very first one or important thing is, which is coming to geography. Yes, you heard it right. First will be geography. Then the second will be history, and the third will be economics. The third will be economics. So up to your school level, it means up to the 10th class, these are the major subjects which you have to deal. But the thing is, when it comes to boards like Telangana and Andhra, these subjects are might not be uh, consisted or packed in one in separate forms, like geography, and the geography for separate book, and like history for separate books, and like for economics also it's a separate book. Instead of that, actually these all are actually merged into the one book only. So we will see some of the chapters which are coming under geography and history and also economics. So we will see all these three different groups or different blocks. We will see how the chapters are arranged in these things. So when it comes to the 10th class textbook, you can see here there are different chapters which are arranged based on the different blocks. So first of all, if you observe here properly, we can find two different units here. If you carefully observe this, you can find two different units here. The first one is, resources development and equity, and the second one is contemporary world and India. So here, the first portion of the social textbook will be covering some part of geography and some part of economics. But when it comes to the second part, it is consisted of history and also a few concepts of political science. You might be thinking that, sir, why don't you tell in the beginning that we have geography, economics, history and political science? Why you saying all these things, and again why you adding political science very newly to us? See, actually this is not a new topic, but this is actually consisting the part of history also we can consider. So when it comes to political science, we can see all the geopolitical issues in this, and the political issues which were in the country. Everything will be discussed in the political science, or whatever the political science term is there. It will ensure that all the political activities will be covered here. So now it is maybe very clear to everyone that how the things are arranged in the 10th class textbook coming to your syllabus. So the first one will be about the resources and development, and the second one will be about the contemporary world and India. So without wasting any time now, let us directly start the first topic of our first lesson, which is relief features. Okay, so has the relief features, we will start the lesson. Before that, I will discuss about what actually we are going to learn in this lesson. Okay, so as you see here, the term relief features. So first of all, this is the this is the lesson which is covering the concepts of geography. So geography, in the sense, it is easy to understand. We are studying about the land, the land area. So geography is the term which studying about the land area. We are studying about the land area, or simply you can say the map analysis and all those things. We have an idea about it in you from your lower classes. We are studying about the map pointing and all those things. But first of all, we need to clarify actually what is map, and how actually we started to know about the map, and where it comes from. Okay, so from the basic we have to start. So check now. So when it comes to map, obviously the picture which comes in our mind is this when we are talking about this. But when you look carefully, actually, to gain this structure or this shape, there were a number of sailors who like spent their life in discovering all the continents and arranging all those things in a proper way. And you know that very well from your 8th standard and your 9th standard. This was not the same map which were you already seen. So actually, to design these kind of maps, there were thousands of years we need to wait for this. We waited for these maps. So the sailors, whoever, they went on discovery to discover the world, to the entire world. They spent entire their life and they discovered. And now we have these kind of maps, so that we can point out easily all the countries, and we can point out the continents, oceans and everything. So first of all, let me tell you from where the word map comes. So the word map comes from the Latin language, or from the Latin word, or simply from the Latin word. The map word comes from the Latin word, which is actually map means in Latin it is mappa. In Latin word it is mappa. In Latin it is mappa. So what does it mean by mappa here? It is a piece of cloth. Mappa, in the sense, a piece of cloth. So here the word comes from Latin, as in Latin it is known as mappa, and later it is changed to the word map, or we are using the word map nowadays. So this was the origin of map. Okay, now let us will move to the topic where we have started, where we left the topic actually. So it is relief features. Relief. Okay, so now we will discuss about the chapter which we have started, which is relief features. So relief, in the sense here, high or low surfaces, high or low surfaces, or low high or low land, high or low land, simply we can say like this. So when we are discussing about high or low land, or when we are discussing about the relief features, few things are very important which we need to keep in our mind is, first of all, you have to master all the continents which are here. So you might be thinking that, sir, has a 10th class standard, what do you think, we don't know all these things? You might be know this, or whether you may lagging to know a few things from this. But do you know the map pointing is very important thing. When we connect, when we try to connect with the different chapters, we will actually redirect you to the maps, right? So that you should not face any problem knowing from there. So you have to master the map pointing. Okay, so I'll zoom this one so that it will be clear to visible to you. So now we know that everyone, there are 7 continents we have. There are 7 continents we have. And when it comes to first, we will talk about Asia, then Africa, then we'll go to North America, South America, Europe, Australia and Antarctica. So these are the 7 important continents which we have. Also, you can point out here Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, and you can find here both the side it is showing like Pacific Ocean, right? Why? So our Earth is a globe, right? Our Earth is a globe, a round shape. So to show the globe in a flat surface, we have to spread it on the flat surface. So once you spread it on the flat surface, half of the part or the half amount of the part of Pacific Ocean will be showed into the left direction, and half of the portion of the part of the Pacific into showed into the right side of the direction or to the right side direction. So these are the common things you need to point out, okay, as you spread the globe on a flat surface. So these are the very important things you should have to keep in mind, and from here only most of the time questions will be asked. Right, now we will move to the further topic. So first of all, we have to point out few important things from the atlas. Okay, so we are aware of all the latitudes and longitudes, right? So let me ask you one question. How many latitudes are there? How many latitudes are there? And how many longitudes are there? How many latitudes and longitudes are there? So after the end of this session, you have to comment below how many latitudes are there and how many longitudes are there. Okay, so before moving to the next part, we will discuss something here like what are latitudes and what are longitudes. So based on the lines which are actually imaginary lines, we call latitudes and longitudes based on the imaginary lines which are horizontal to the earth, which are horizontal to the earth. They are, so you are all aware of latitudes and longitudes, right? So we are all worried about latitudes and longitudes. We know everyone what are latitudes and longitudes. So first of all, the line which is moving right from the middle, it is equator, right? So everyone, we are aware of this. Now if the one more line, if I draw one more vertical line from the north to south, it will become 0 degrees or Greenwich line. It will become 0 degrees and Greenwich line. So all these vertical lines are longitudes and all the horizontal lines are latitudes. All the vertical lines are longitudes and horizontal lines are latitudes. So the area between these lines which is forming here, we call it grid. What we call grid. So the area which is forming here, we call it grid. So it might not be clear earlier. I'll show you with some easy understanding now. Check this. This is equator, and the line which we are drawing from the North Pole to South Pole. So this line is from North to South Pole. This line is Greenwich line. This line is Greenwich line, or simply we can say 0 degrees line. And you know equator is also at 0 degrees. So based on the vertical lines and based on the horizontal lines, we can declare or we can call they are latitudes or longitudes. So if there are vertical lines, we call them longitudes, and if there are horizontal lines, we call them latitudes. So together latitudes and longitudes will form some squares here. So these squares are known as grid. These squares are known as grid. So this is what about the few or the some basic concepts of latitudes and longitudes. I'll tell you why we need to know this. So first of all, if you are able to understand this, now carefully we have to observe. Carefully we have to observe. If I point out equator has 0 degrees, so if I move this side, to the north side and this is south. If I move to north side and if I move to south side, eventually I'll reach to 90 degrees to the south, I'll reach 90 degrees to the north, right? So this will happen if I move to the north and south. So here we have like number of latitudes will be 181, total latitudes will be 181 and total longitudes will be 360, total longitudes will be 360. So total longitudes will be 360 and latitudes will be 181. 181 in the sense 180 all the latitudes and the equator which we are adding here, along with this it will become 181 latitudes. Okay. Now I'll tell you why we need to know that about the latitudes and longitudes, how many latitudes are there and where is the equator is passing through. So it's very important from the point of view of our country, like where it stands or where it is located on the globe. So based on the latitudes and longitudes, you can find the country very easily. You can point out very easily here. So you need to observe carefully now how to locate the country on the map, on the atlas map or on the map. So if the latitudes and longitudes are provided properly, we will see how to find out. So first of all, we have to declare the directions. So this is north, south and east and west. Okay, so the directions are clear now, north, south, east and west. And even in most of the maps it is very clearly mentioned that the arrow which is showing upward, obviously the arrow will make us remember us or help us to recall it is north. And obviously we know that wherever the arrow shows to the north side, opposite will be south. Okay, so this is clear to everyone, right? Okay, so now if you wanted to find the coordinates of India, we have to look at the coordinates which are coming from in the west side. Our coordinates are resides from 68 degrees and 7 minutes. So from your 9th class you have very clear instructions that we are reading these numbers or digits like 68 degrees 7 minutes, 68 degrees 7 minutes. And then when it comes to the eastern side, we can find here it is 97 degrees and 25 minutes, 97 degrees and 25 minutes. So is this clear? Now one more thing we need to look is where our India stands in latitudes. So just now we talk about the longitude from 68 degrees of eastern longitude to 97 degrees 25 minutes eastern longitude. So this is the longitudinal range or the longitudinal coordinates of India. Now coming to the latitudinal coordinates of India. So first of all we need to focus on from the south side. So we know that the southern tip of India is very close to the equator, So when it comes to southern tip of India, it is 8 degrees 4 minutes in the northern latitude. It's in the 8 degrees 4 minutes northern latitude. So if you are facing some problems to understand, sir, why you need to write here 8 degrees 4 minutes northern latitude, 68 degrees 7 minutes eastern longitude, and in the east side again you written 97 degrees and 25 minutes eastern longitude. Why you are writing, sir, all these things, east and north and all those things after the degree and time? So we'll clarify this one very clear, very fast. So you see here, when it comes to the northern region, it is 37 degrees 6 minutes north. Okay, so now it is very clear to everyone that whatever the east side longitudes are there, they are starting from 68 degrees and 7 minutes eastern longitude to 97 degrees 25 minutes western longitude. But here we are mentioning 68 degrees 7 minutes east, and here we are mentioning 97 degrees 25 minutes east. So why we need to mention this is also an eastern longitude and this is also an western longitude? So for your kind information, I wanted to tell you that if you observe the globe properly, you can find that India is actually residing above the equator. Am I right? Yes, India is residing above the equator. So if India is residing above the equator, we know that equator is passing at 0 degrees, right? So whatever the things, whatever the countries comes above the equator, it means they are in the northern hemisphere, right? And those are like below the equator, they are in the southern hemisphere. But okay sir, if you're saying north and south, it's very clear that if it's come in northern hemisphere, hence we are mentioning 37 degrees 6 minutes north, and here 8 minutes and 4 degrees north. Okay, that's fine. But what about the east? 68 degrees 7 minutes east and 97 degrees 25 minutes east. Why these things are? Okay, so if you find the Greenwich here, if you find the Greenwich here, the Greenwich actually split the world into west and into east. So that is the reason we call western countries. Western countries. If you are residing into the eastern hemisphere, what you will say? We call eastern countries. And one more thing, I need to tell you now. So we also divide India into western hemisphere and eastern hemisphere, as we divide India into northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. So now I think it is fully clear to everyone, like why we are writing here 68 degrees 7 minutes east and here 97 degrees 25 minutes east. So these are actually longitudinal values. And when it comes to latitudinal values, we are mentioning 37 degrees 6 minutes north and 8 degrees 4 minutes north. It means it is resembling that, or it is showing that India is in eastern hemisphere and in the eastern longitudes, in the northern hemisphere, into the eastern longitudes and northern hemisphere. So Indian coordinates are in eastern longitudes and in northern hemisphere. So it is very clear to everyone if I am right. If not, just comment below and let me know what are the doubts you have, so that I can clarify in a better way in the upcoming topics. Okay, so up to now it's very clear to everyone, but there might be one more question to you, that sir, if you have like these coordinates, whatever you said now, 68 degrees 7 minutes and 97 degrees 25 minutes, why we need to draw the IST in 87 in 82 degrees 30 minutes? Why this is resembling IST? Why this is being as Indian standard time? Why we need to do this? Yes, so this may be the general question, may be rising to everyone. Okay, so we need to clarify this one, and it is very important in the perspective of geography. Okay, so look at here. So we very well know that why actually we have our Indian standard time at 82 degrees 30 minutes on the eastern longitude, and why it is necessary to draw from here only. Okay, so as we come to know just now, we have 67 degrees 7 minutes eastern longitude. From here we have 97 degrees 25 minutes eastern longitude. Okay, so we know that there is one basic formula about the time zones. When you move to east side, you have to add the time. It means the time will increase. Okay, let's say how. I'll show you with simple explanation. Let's say you have to move from one direction to another direction. Okay, so let's say here we have 0 degrees longitude. So if it is a 0 degrees longitude, if you have to move, so obviously this is the north, this is south, and this is west. So all the time I need not to write all these things. You have to remember. So I'll just say we are moving from west to east and all those things, from north to south. So you have to remember all these things. Okay, so if I have to move from west to east side, what I'll do, I have to add the time. How? Let's say if it is the Greenwich. Okay, if this is the Greenwich, and let's say we'll keep this is as our equator. Okay, this is our equator. So now I have to move 30 degrees towards the equator, 30 degrees towards the side of equator, or simply we can say 30 degrees towards the side of east. I'm sorry to say towards the equator, it's better to say from west to east we have to move from west to east we have to move at least for 30 degrees. So at least for 30 degrees in the sense we know that each 1 degree carries the time of 4 minutes, right? Each 1 degree carries the time of 4 minutes. So simply what you have to do now, you have to multiply the 4 with 30, and again I'll make you it very simple. And we know very well that if we move from 15 degrees to the east, we have to add. What we have to do, we have to add. Let's say if you're moving from east to west, what you have to do, you have to subtract. You have to add toward the side of east, you have to subtract toward the side of west. So my question is, if I move toward the side of east, then what I have to do, I have to add, right? So by this thing you can easily point out that if we have two different time zones within the country, if we have two different time zones within the country, it will impact on us, it will show impact on us. So to avoid the two different time zones, we consider the IST from 82 degrees 20 from 82 degrees 30 minutes, from 82 degrees 32 minutes we consider our IST at 82 degrees 30 minutes. Hence this is the reason 82 degrees 30 to 30 minutes will be the IST of India. IST in the sense Indian Standard Time. So our Indian Standard Time is 5 hours and 30 minutes ahead of the Greenwich. I will simplify here how it is possible, like how we can calculate the time from 0 degrees to like whatever the respective degrees we choose to take. So it's very simple. When you move from 0 to 15 degrees, like I said you in the beginning, 1 degree is actually carries 4 minutes of time, right? But here if you go on adding 1 degrees and all those things by calculating, you will get lots of time to do that. So simply if you wanted to see, you can add like this. From 0 to 15 degrees completely it will become like the time of 1 hour. Then again from here you have to add 15 more degrees. In 15 you have to add 15 more degrees, in the sense 30. So if you add like this 30, 45, 60 and 75 and 90, so you can find the time gap of 1 hour among these. You can find time gap of 1 hour among these. So this 1 hour, in the sense if you reach up to 82, you will be reaching at the time of 5 hours and 30 minutes. You are reaching the time of 5 hours and 30 minutes. So it is the actual time of IST or Indian Standard Time from the Greenwich,